For many married couples, the gift of fertility can be both a blessing and a challenge. Knowing this, some couples choose to practice natural family planning, or NFP for short, in which they observe real-time symptoms of their fertility and discern together how to best be stewards of that gift. But it's not always easy. In fact, sometimes the blessing is the challenge and vice versa. Let's hear from some couples who have been living NFP firsthand.
Well, I grew up with natural family planning. My parents practiced that, and then they also taught pre-K classes.
I did not grow up with parents who were teaching pre-K classes after bedtime. So the first time I heard of NFP was when we began our marriage prep after we were engaged. And I think my first impression, my background's in engineering, so it was kind of interesting, I think, from a scientist perspective, just to wow, that's how our bodies work, how our fertility works. It really opened my eyes a lot, I think, from the kind of functional perspective.
We were Protestant at the time when we first heard about it because as we were getting ready to get married, we weren't Catholic and we were looking into our birth control options because that's responsible, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're like, well, obviously that's not gonna work, so we need to look at something else. So that was our first experience with it, was just take it off the table.
Exactly. I mean, I'm a medical provider, so I understand it'd be real easy to take a pill every day or get an intrauterine device and not worry about that thing for 5 to 7 years. But there's kind of a constant communication that has to take place here.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy way out.
We became Catholic and we were like, well, if this is what the church teaches, then obviously that's what we're gonna head towards.
But also, when we got to that point, we started to see, a divergence between what the church taught and obviously the culture. It's no, this is a new dimension of your life, and really this is your vocation, what you've been called to. Mm-hmm. And this is how you're going to grow in holiness and grow closer to Christ, is through this vocation as a father, as a mother, with your children. And so we were struck by that, and so we're like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to figure it out.
It's very easy to just fall back into that cultural, kids are always a choice and an expense, and, as opposed to gift, blessing, moment where you can experience that, jumping off a cliff and saying, Lord, you're awesome. Just give us what you want to give us, So that's where we've experienced struggle, is being at that point all the time.
It's very difficult to be in those moments of abstinence, those long periods of abstinence, and you desire each other, you want to be with each other, and because you practice NFP, you can't. And that's a challenge every month. It's just okay, well, this is what we signed up for, and understanding the beauty in that and really growing to conform our will to God's. I think that's tough. That's that hurts, that is growing. You grow in faith that way, but it's painful, Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really difficult.
The biggest impact has been just on our marriage, just us coming together more fully as a couple. Obviously our children, we had it planned out that by 30 we would have maybe a child. We're 31, we have 4. That's not to say that NFP didn't work. It absolutely did. It just changed our hearts so fully that we knew that we wanted that. We wanted that fullness of life-giving and everything.
It really required me to honor my wife in a way that respected her feminine genius, in a way where it wasn't transactional. But it's also that you have more meaningful dialogue and unity with your spouse. And that's taken me a while to get to. So one of the hardest things is one of the best things.
I think marriage is hard. Any relationship is hard. And just because things are hard doesn't mean they aren't good. Marriage is just one of the most wonderful things, one of the most wonderful gifts that we've been given, is to be together. And NFP is something that just helps us even especially through those difficult times, to get better at our relationship. So I think it's an incredible gift.
So this is the best part of NFP. Yeah, I definitely could not imagine our lives like any different than like without him. And like, yeah, if we were like using contraception, like we would not have Tom right now.
And now it's like
Yeah.
not a picture of my life without him. The worst is when he wakes up at like 2 a.m. and then, but like you like go in there and he like sees you and he's like, and you're just like, no, I'm mad at you. You woke me up. But it's all love with him.
Yeah.